So I can tell you how Adi and I have spent the last few years. I mean, the book came out in Hebrew a couple of years ago, and we've spent the last few years meeting numerous European diplomats and journalists. And why European? Because Europe, certainly now, since the United States stopped funding UNRWA, UNRWA being the UN agency that sustains for Palestinians the idea that they're still refugees, that one day they will have a mass return into the state of Israel. UNRWA is funded by Europe to more than $1 billion a year, first and foremost, of course, by the EU, but then by individual countries, Germany, UK, Sweden, France, Switzerland. And we meet with Europeans who are very invested in their support for UNRWA. And I have to share with you one such meeting we had about a year ago in Brussels. This was a German diplomat, but an EU diplomat who works in Brussels on the funding of UNRWA. So really the person. Adi and I go with him through the story, through the fact that the Palestinians are really serious about return, that UNRWA has sustained them in their belief, that Europe, by funding UNRWA, actually fuels this Palestinian vision. And we go through that, we go through the history, and then at the end of an hour, he looks at us and he says it, I'm going to do it at the same pace that he said it. So you want to tell me that the reason we still don't have peace is that the Palestinians want all of it? And Adi and I go, yes. But we remember this process that for him, just to begin to process this idea was unthinkable. And because of that, and because of all these experiences, I've invented a word which I introduced in the book, and I call it West-planing. I'm sure you all know by now the word mansplaining, when men say what women should think or just try to say. And West-planing is the word I invented when European diplomats and journalists explain away what Palestinians have just said. So Palestinians will say, from the river to the sea, the right of return is holy. We'll never give it away. Israel is a foreign implant in the region. Blah, blah, blah. They say these things. To their credit, they say them. And then what do you hear from European diplomats? They know it's not going to happen. It's a delusion. They're angry. It's because what Netanyahu just said. And often we have to tell them, listen to them. Give them the respect of listening to them. They know what they want. They've been fighting for it for decades. They know what they're sacrificing for. Don't look down on them. They know what they want. And by the way, they're very rational about it. The notion that the right of return is a delusion and the Palestinians know it's not going to happen, there's no evidence for that. The evidence is the contrary. And all you have to do to understand why Palestinians are rational is to open a map. The Palestinians do that. They see 7 million Jews at best trying to survive among half a billion Arabs, 1.5 billion Muslims. And they say to themselves, this Zionist experiment is not going to last much longer. Ultimately, the region will revert to being Arab and Muslim, and Palestine from the river to the sea will be ours. All we have to do is wait one more generation, 3 more generations, and it will be ours. It's an entirely rational worldview.
Okay.